Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome in once again to another episode of Guest Blade. This time it's Guest Blade episode number 34, and we're going to be focusing on a pair of Tony Marfione Custom Mini Matrix. Both quite different, even though they're the same knife, they're both a little bit different. You may be wondering why I have all these cool looking bullet lanyard beads sitting out here. It's thanks to the person that donated these two knives to let me do the guest blade. His name is Nick, and if you're on Instagram, go check him out at NCC Knives. What he's doing is he's making these cool lanyard beads. I just threw this one on one of my existing lanyards. He's doing different calibers, I think. This is a 9mm. I think he's going to be doing some 45 ACP. And he's doing a whole huge assortment of different colors, the way that he's anodizing them. I think he's selling these for about $30 or $35, depending on the colors and I guess the calibers that you choose. So I thought that was really interesting. He sent a whole bag full of these, and I'm probably not going to send them all back because I think they're pretty damn cool. And he's doing some really neat color combos, purple and blue, and there was purple and gold in one of the other ones. I've got a few blue and gold here. So he's doing some really nifty stuff. So I'll just kind of give you guys a quick eyeful of these. One of the cool things about being on Instagram is you get to meet so many, really a diverse type of person out there. There's somebody out there making something for everybody. It's crazy. Instagram is just such a wonderful community. If you're not already on Instagram and you're a knife dude or a knife gal, you really should be, because the community there is actually getting stronger and larger than the presence here on YouTube. But for right now, we are going, I'm going to move a few of these out of the way just so that the camera doesn't try to focus on them. And we'll leave a couple laying up here. And the lanyard. How about just the lanyard? All right. So now let's talk about the knives that we're looking at here. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole debate and controversy between these and the Zero Tolerance 777. One, because, oh my God, that has been beaten to death. I've covered it extensively on the videos that I had done on the original 777, so you can always go back and rewatch that if you want to. The other reason is this is the Mini, and there are changes, there are differences between this and the other knife that this will remind you of. So there's really not, I don't know, no need to beat a dead horse, you know what I'm saying? Let's just talk about these knives on their own merits, regardless of whose design it originally was. Now, I do want to be fair and as unbiased as possible, and I do want to talk about this for a second. You guys know I am very critical. It doesn't matter who the maker is. If they make a great product, they're going to get praise. If they fuck up, they're going to get, I guess a little demerit from me. And you guys know that Tony has been on both sides of the fence with me as far as my reviews go. Going back to the Halo 5 review. I love the Halo 5. Actually, I now own that exact Halo 5 that I did the review on, thanks to my very good friend who donated for the guest blade. And, you've seen what I went through with the DOC. So now maybe you're kind of wondering, well, how is Jim really going to feel about these? I got to tell you, I met Tony at the New York Custom Knife Show a few months ago back in November. And again, this is after I've already done those other reviews. And I'll be honest, I was kind of wanting to avoid his table because I didn't want to have any kind of, I don't know, throwdown in the middle of the show or whatever, because I didn't know Tony. And my buddy ended up buying a really great knife that had this finish, and I can't wait to start talking about this on his DOC. And we ended up being there for almost an hour at his table, and Tony had to be one of the absolute nicest, most genuine and welcoming people that I have ever met. I mean, really just a super nice guy, very free and giving with his information. And we started talking about the finish that we're going to be discussing here on this knife. And, he's going to be sending me a few knives he's going to make especially for this. He's going to send them out, and I'm going to do some review work on those and really break them down. So I really look forward to that opportunity. Tony, it was fantastic to meet him. And I got to tell you, he completely changed my mind about the persona that seems to be out there about him. So without any further ado, let's talk about these knives. So the first thing that you're going to notice is, oh, they are tiny, man. And I do mean tiny. When they say this is a mini matrix, they're right. The smallest knife that I really own these days that I've kept, that I will keep, is my Brad Southard Custom, my Tarsus. And you'll see that if we go, let me move that out of the way, and we will put the knives butt to butt, as all things in nature should be. You'll see that it's even smaller than my Tarsus. My Tarsus is only a 3¼ inch blade. Man, he sure made a tiny one here. What you're looking at here is a 3-inch blade. The whole knife overall, from tip to ass, is only 7¼ inches. Not only is it tiny, but it's only 2½ ounces. If you have ever felt the need to have a wonderful small EDC, maybe you're wearing lightweight shorts, you're wearing maybe gym shorts or something like that, you can't have any kind of weight in your pocket, but you don't want to go without your pocket knife. This thing is as light as a feather. You've got 30,000 layer carbon fiber for the handles, with no titanium liner. It is just the carbon fiber. And then you have Tony's subframe lock that we've seen from the Whale Shark all the way up to the SOCOM Delta. It's really starting to make a big impression in the models that he's making, and it's a phenomenal system. You ever have any issues with the lock? You've got a replaceable lock interface right here. Your proprietary screws, once again, is going to make that a bit of a challenge, but you can get the tool. And then, if you have even further problems, you can replace the entire subframe lock, because it's not a true frame lock because it's not made of the same material as the frame. That's why it's called a subframe lock. So this subsection here can be removed by these 2 screws, I do believe, and completely replaced. So this is, it's a wonderful, ingenious little system that he's got here. One of the things that I've always admired about Microtechs, and again, even going down to a $200 knife that they make in a production knife, you get truly one-off custom hardware. Now, there's 2 sides to every coin. While it looks great and it makes you realize that you're dealing with a company that's invested a lot of money into their components, makes it a pain in the ass if you haven't spent the money to buy the specialized tool in order to manipulate that custom hardware. Now, the majority of standard, regular guys are not going to completely disassemble their entire knife, but they may at least want to make adjustments to their pivot. And you're not going to risk buggering up that nice pivot using a makeshift tool at home, so you're going to have to spend a lot of money to get that tool. You're looking at a titanium backspacer. In this case, again, being a Marfione Custom and not being a standard Microtech, everything here has been touched and massaged and beautified. So you've got a little blowtorch treatment back here giving you some really wild colors coming through that floating backspacer. Get that open so you can see through. A nice pass-through design. The lock, subframe lock there is blocking your view from there, but it is, when I open that, you'll see it is completely flow through. All right, so you also have a custom clip. Not the fanciest clip in the world, but this is really, when you get down to it, a simple type of carry knife. And here it will have Anthony's name right there and the date of manufacture, 10 of 2013. Overall, the construction of the knives is really fantastic. They feel really solid, really well made. It is a little bit disconcerting how lightweight it is, so if you equate heft to quality, it might kind of mess you up for a little bit. Blade is nearly perfectly centered, and let's get that blade out, because the real reason most people buy a Marfione Custom instead of just the plain Microtech production knife is the hand ground blades. Tony grinds a wicked, wicked blade. They're going to be very, very sharp. They're going to be very complex. I mean, this is a super deep hollow grind. Very, very deep hollow grind on very small blade stock. And then you've got this very prominent hollow ground top swedge, which really gives you this wonderful look. It makes the flats and this juncture here between the 2 grinds makes them much, much, much more pronounced because of that radiused angle in there. If this was flat ground and that was flat ground, it would still perform wonderfully and look good, but it wouldn't look nearly as impressive as it does. And you got to realize this is not a chisel grind. It's got the same grind on the other side. And that blade stock is relatively slim, yet you're getting a really tremendously pronounced look in the flats and that intersection there. CPM 154 steel used in both, and this is done in a really nice light stone wash. Tony does a great stone wash. He's also got mirrored stone washes, and you know, this is all, you know, I might want to call this the mirrored stone wash because it does have a certain degree of reflectivity to it. So this might be what he calls the mirrored stone wash, and it looks beautiful. I mean, this looks like a custom knife. Is it worth the $700 to $800 we see them for? You know, that's entirely up to you. It's a small knife, and it's going to feel small in most everybody's hands. But again, size does not, you know, translate to price or to quality. It just depends on you. If this is not going to be a primary carry for you, you know, this is going to be more of a backup, back pocket carry or lazy Sunday afternoon carry, is it worth spending that much money? I think that the quality is absolutely there. I love contoured carbon fiber. He does a really great job on that. I actually have an Andre Van Heerden on the way to me, that's my knife, that has contoured carbon fiber similar to this, and that was one of the selling features to me, because it does look so attractive. It is somewhat complex in order to make that happen. All right, so we're going to get this little boy out of the way for right now, and we're going to focus on my favorite of the two. And this thing is absolutely badass. And the reason for that is, well, let's take a look at it visually. The same 30,000 layer carbon fiber, and then you have the heat treated hardware, so you get this really deep bronze look. I just realized my camera's white balance went way out of focus there for some reason. The colors should be coming back now. Nice, rich, deep bronze. And that's carried over from the pivot and the hardware into the subframe lock, the pocket clip, and the back spacer. It is really an attractive color combination, I gotta tell you. But it's when you get that blade open and you look at the finish of the blade, and you're thinking to yourself, well, it's just a black DLC blade like everybody else does. Yes, it is a DLC blade, but it's the material being used for that coating that makes this special. And this was one of the things that Tony and I discussed at pretty good length during the show, and why I became so interested in the things that he had out on his table at the time. What he's using is a process or a material called Cassidium. Now, it's a proprietary diamond-like carbon coating, DLC, and it was made to be a solution for surface wear. It's made by a company called Anatech Limited, and where they've really focused this coating on is in the racing industry. Most notably now in NASCAR engines. Yeah, no bullshit. They're actually coating the wrist pins in this material because it's offering a degree of lubricity, excuse me. So there's less wear. It's going to glide a lot smoother. Somebody that has this blade in this knife is not going to have to worry about putting a lot of lube in there over time. Again, it's going to have Microtech's proprietary bearing system inside, so it's going to be smooth enough. But this is a very slick, very smooth surface. It's not going to corrode, which is a wonderful thing. Not that you have that much to worry about with CPM 154 anyway. And I do believe a bug has gotten in here. Get out of here, bug. Don't make me cut you, bitch. See, you just got to tell him who's boss. You're going to knock him around a little bit. So the benefits of this is it completely eliminates galling. So you're not going to have any issues with whatever material you've coated in this material up against another material. Like, well, we have a steel lock bar insert here, but we could have, really left that as just titanium and not had any interference issues as long as that coating was on the lock face. So you've got the lubricity, you've got the corrosion resistance, you have the gall resistance, and it reduces friction, now get this, by more than 70%. Now, obviously, that's going to be a huge deal in a racing engine. And, you know, we're seeing this in NASCAR motors. A lot of motorcycle custom engine builders specifically, I've seen this applied into guys that are building Hayabusa motors, are using this technology to coat internal parts like the wrist pins, like basically any internal part that's going to be rubbing against anything else. You're reducing the wear by so much. You're increasing the life of any material that you coat this in. Now, Tony has decided to adopt this from the racing world into knives. He's the first guy to use this exact material in knives. At least that's what he told me, as long as I'm not mistaken, but I do believe that's what he told me. It's incredible. It's a very, very thin film down to 2 microns. I mean, you're not changing your tolerances, your clearances, nothing. Like if you were to put a Duracoat on there or many of the other PVD processes that there are, everything remains the same. And to you, the end user, you don't give a shit about any of that. You're not the one that has to build the knife. You care about its durability. This is going to be extraordinarily wear and scratch resistant. So now you have a true all black blade, and he is doing this in a rich bronze as well, which is what my friend bought in his DOC. You're getting a coating that has the possibility of looking newer longer, of resisting scratches, of resisting wear. No fade to the material. It's always going to look black, or in the other case, that rich, bright bronze. It's like a golden bronze. And I got to tell you, as much as I like this, and I typically go for a standard look of a blade like this in stone wash or satin or something, of these two, this is my clear choice. There is something so sexy about that look, that shiny black mirror, that obsidian-like look that this blade has. It's incredible. And while I don't typically like knives this small, I actually want to have this. I do want to carry something like this. And the closest thing I have to it is the DLC on my Shirogorov. Now, there's going to be a difference here. There is a tremendous amount of work that goes into the polishing process on the Rockstead. Oh, did I say Shirogorov? I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I did. I meant to say Rockstead. This is my Rockstead Shin. You guys know I've had this for over a year. It's been in a lot of my videos. It is one of my true favorites. And it is a true black mirror. And nobody else really does it this good. I mean, that's just the way it is. But they're spending a tremendous amount of time on the mirror polishing of the steel before they ever go to the DLC process. So the closest I've ever seen to the beauty is right here. And it's just as sexy, but in a different way. More of a combat kind of look, I think. Just uber cool. And for once, you can look at a cool black blade and not just go, well, it looks good, look good for a week or two. I've got a good looking blade that I'm not afraid to use, and it's no more likely to show wear than this one. So yeah, I mean, there's two visual polar opposites right there. Same exact knife, but it's amazing how you can change the character, change the personality, just by changing a few colors. And they've certainly done that well. So for me, again, I just have a hard time going into a knife that's quite this small. But if I were to go any smaller than my Southern, I think I would have to carry one of these. It's a brilliant, comfortable, lightweight, super slim, easy to carry, razor sharp, beautifully defined design that all the way around just kind of makes you feel warm and fuzzy when you pull it out of your pocket. You want to play with it. You want to carry it. You want to show it off to people. And it's still got a degree of practicality to it. I mean, you've got your built-in lanyard hole right there in your back spacer. Even your back spacer is custom, the way that it's been shaped and contoured. Your stop pin is custom. Nice custom turned. I'm going to assume it's a steel stop pin with titanium hardware. But who couldn't carry something like this? It's brilliant. So it's really up to you and how you feel about uber small knives, how you feel about this design. I like the futuristic look, and that's something that Microtech has done well since their inception, bringing out modern and futuristic looks and bringing out a lot of custom touches even in standard production knives. But yeah, you're going to pay top dollar for these. These are not the $300 production knives. These are $700 and $800 a piece. So only you can say if you can justify that amount of money. For me, on this one, I think I would do it just to have the pleasure of owning such a unique system in which it's been coded to create this beautiful look and give me a degree of longevity. All right, guys, that is my long-winded quickie report. It was supposed to be a quickie report on these two great knives and, of course, once again, on those bullet beads that he's making. Go check out his Instagram. I'll put his name again down there in the description in case you forgot. And that's going to do me for right now, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I got a big announcement coming up in the next few weeks, and I do mean huge. So make sure you check back and check for my updates, because I think I've figured out a way to completely blow your minds. See you next time.